Good evening. The time is now 7:30. I will call this public hearing and regular business meeting of the Mayor and Council for the City of Snellville, Georgia, for Monday, December 9th, 2019 to order. We do have a quorum. And we'll start with the invocation by Pastor Sandy Adams from Calvary Chapel Church in Stone Mountain.
Great, thank you. Please join me as we pray. Father God, thank you for our country and for the freedoms we enjoy, and for our officials who've been installed by the people to protect those freedoms. God, we know that you're the one who ultimately sets up the governing authorities, and I pray that they'll exercise their oath and duties with kindness and humility. Lord, we're excited about this year's holiday season, and in the spirit of Christmas, thank you for your Son, Jesus, who laid aside his privileges and came to earth as the least of these, as a baby. The one worthy of all worship humbled himself and came to be a servant. And Father, may all of us who have any authority in our community remember that first and foremost, we too are servants. We've been called to lay aside our personal interests and work on behalf of our fellow citizens. Help us to serve fairly and faithfully. And Lord, I pray too for those who help us serve our community and keep it safe, our first responders. Please protect our police officers and all the other public servants that work so hard to make the city of Snellville a safe place for ourselves and our families. We pray too for the men and women who educate our children. We know that they also occupy the front lines. And tonight, Lord, I especially want to thank you for one of our teachers who decided you wanted her to make a difference beyond her classroom. I know Solange will take the oath of office tonight, and I pray you'll bless her, along with all the other council members, with wisdom and compassion as they seek to lead our growing city. Having lived in the Snellville area now for over 5 decades, I'm happy to call it home, and I appreciate the diverse and special city Snellville has become. I believe its best days are ahead. Lord, lead this council as it seeks to lead our city. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Adams. And now we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Eric Van Otteren.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Eric. And now, under ceremonial matters, we will have the oath of office administered to Solange Destang for Council Post 2.
Solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully perform the duties
of
Council Post 2
Council Post 2
of this city, and that I will support and defend
the
Charter thereof, as well as the Constitution and laws of the State of Georgia and the United States of America. So help me God. Congratulations.
We'll give her a minute, too, to figure out how to work these chairs. Next on the agenda, we have Proclamation 2019-35 for Arbor Day. This is a proclamation that we've all already signed, and I'm not going to read it into the record, but this does allow us to keep our Arbor Day status status as a tree city. Next, we'll approve the minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of the November 25, 2019 meetings.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. And tonight we have no invited guests. We do have one committee report for the Downtown Development Authority by Mr. Dombritt.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. It's a pleasure to give you a report tonight for the Snellville Downtown Development Authority. The DDA is excited about the coming development, the Grove and the Town Center, and we're here prepared to help any way possible as the zoning process starts this month. In the coming year, we'll continue to look at new opportunities and projects that may be possible in the Town Center and to help keep the momentum of the economic development in our downtown. An update on the Cobblestone office complex. We've had a successful first 6 months at Cobblestone. We continue to make improvements as needed, and we'll be developing a capital budget to do some needed renovations to the complex in a whole over the next months and years. Our property manager, Angie Strickland, has been doing a great job with the day-to-day operations of the complex, as well as managing, renewing leases, and bringing in new clients when space is available. Over the past month, we also opened a new account for monthly deposits for the payment of the bond obligations. And it's my pleasure to let you know that that first obligation was met last week and the first bond payment was made. We're in the process right now of appointing a new board member for the Snellville Tourism and Trade as required by their bylaws, and that will be completed by the first of the year. We also would like to invite you to our joint planning retreat. It's on Wednesday, January the 15th. It will be held at the Walton EMC Lenore Church campus at 8:30 a.m. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them now.
Are there any questions for Mr. Britt? See none? Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
We appreciate everything that you do. And now we'll have the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve tonight's agenda with 2 additional items. Under new business, item C, consideration and action on the Clear Channel Development Agreement. Also in addition, item D, also under new business, consideration and action on the in-town suite settlement agreement.
There is a motion to approve with amendments. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. Now we'll have our public hearing. We've got one item under our public hearing agenda. It's second reading on ZOA 19-03, consideration and action on a text amendment to Section 6.2 definitions and Section 9-10 or 9.10 BG District Regulations of the Snellville Zoning Ordinance and Article 6 Motels, Hotels, and Extended Stay Hotels of Chapter 22 Businesses of the City Code of Snellville. And our City Attorney, Chuck Ross, is going to provide an explanation.
So we were asked to look into the issues of new zoning regulations in regard to hotels, motels, and extended stay hotels, especially in light of the growth we have in Snellville and with the development of the Grove. To that end, we consulted and looked at what many of the other similar sized and cities are doing around Gwinnett County and in Metro Atlanta. And to that, we put together a quite lengthy zoning ordinance to deal with some of the issues. In particular, they deal heavily with safety and with maintaining clean facilities, also cameras, make sure that people are, there's proper lighting in the areas, as well as things like how much space each of the hotel rooms should have and how often they're cleaned. So all those are fairly in-depth, and we've put that together in the draft that's before you all.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. This is a public hearing on this ZOA 19-03, so I will open the floor to public comment. If anyone would like to speak either for or against this zoning ordinance, then please come forward and provide your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Eric Stoltz. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Paul Hastings. We're located at 1170 Peachtree Street Northeast, Suite 100, Atlanta, Georgia, 30309. I will say on behalf of SCG LH Snellville Limited Partnership, which is the owner of In-Town Suites Snellville, I'd like to express our sincere appreciation to this entire council, to its staff, and to the city's attorney's office for the consideration that this council has given to its work with respect to the ordinance that's before the council and its efforts to provide a reasonable outcome for this community. Purely as a procedural matter and as a result of the order of the agenda this evening, and out of purely an abundance of legal caution, I do need to voice during this public comment session, and I emphasize that we need to do this, that In-Town Suites Snellville objects to this ordinance as written based upon its property interests and its existing business that sits on the ground there on two grounds. One, that it's unconstitutional under the Constitution of the United States of America and the Georgia Constitution, including that the ordinance is a taking and also violates equal protection and due process. And second, under state and federal law, we believe that it violates applicable statutes and regulations with that as well. Again, we purely raise these objections due to a legal need to do so, again, due to the order of the agenda tonight, but with all due respect to the City Council, Mayor Bender, and with the hope that we'll have a resolution here shortly, and that the remaining issues we have will be resolved fairly soon after that. So thank you for indulging the procedural matter here, and procedural matter only. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. The public hearing is still open. If there is anyone else who would like to speak either for or against this amendment, please come forward. Seeing no one else, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Motion to approve ZOA 19-03 as described by our city attorney.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
I heard Todd first. I didn't touch it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so then I heard Dave first. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve. Would any council members like to make a comment? Okay, then I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. Here we have nothing under our consent agenda, no old business. Under new business, we would like to ratify the results of the December 3rd, 2019 runoff election results. The election results were for Council Post 2, Solange Destang, 557 votes, and Brittany Marmel, 401 votes. With that, is there a motion to ratify?
Motion to ratify the December 3rd, 2019 runoff election results as read by the mayor.
There's a motion to ratify. Is there a second?
Second.
So motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. That is 6 in favor, so none opposed. Next, we have item B, second reading, ordinance 2019-20, ordinance to amend the code of the City of Snellville, Georgia, to require clear signage on any property that employs the practice of immobilization or booting of vehicles within the city limits of Snellville, to require employees of any booting company to wear a uniform that prominently displays the name of the booting company, to provide for a personal warning to be given to an individual before a vehicle can be booted, to provide severability, to repeal conflicting ordinances, to provide an effective date, and for other purposes. And our city attorney, Chuck Ross, will explain this one as well.
So we were asked to look into the issues surrounding the practice of booting or vehicle immobilization. What we found is that the law is very clear in regards to private property owners and towing and being able to have a vehicle removed from private property. However, the law is silent on the issue of booting or vehicle immobilization. We have learned that there's been some potential legislation coming from the state which would preempt any type of legislation which the city might enact. As you might know, the county actually has passed ordinances that does not allow booting in unincorporated Gwinnett County. But rather than go down that road, the City Council thought it would be in the best interest that we do require anyone that wants to boot a vehicle on private property to make sure that the people parking in those lots are properly notified and understand that where they're parking, that they could be booted because they're no longer supposed to be in that particular parking area. So as to that, there are guidelines in this ordinance that provide for signage to be placed at the entrances and the exits to all parking lots that indicate that if you are not a customer in that or have other reason to have business in that particular area, that you can be subject to booting. There also will be signage placed every 50 feet that indicates the same. So that is... and then also there will be an onus upon the booting operator to show that they've provided a warning to the persons that have parked there, and also that they will have to wear a uniform so that people will be able to identify that they are actually booting operators and not just someone trying to take their money. So.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. This is the second reading for this. We'll take a motion by council.
Madam Mayor, I would make the motion that we approve ordinance 2019-20 with the following changes from what was advertised on the website. Most of these changes were in our packet and were changes that were made at the recommendation of council members. Under section 58-202, prohibition, any property owner desiring to employ the use of vehicle immobilization service must post signs at every entry and exit point to and from their property and upon or facing parking spaces not greater than 50 feet apart that clearly defines exactly which spaces and businesses qualify for parking privileges on said property, and that parking for any other businesses other than those listed will result in the immobilization or booting of their vehicle. No vehicle properly displaying a handicapped license plate or other official handicapped operator's permit parked in a designated handicapped parking space shall be immobilized. And then under section 58-204, in-person warning required, the final sentence was added, it shall be the responsibility of the booting operator to prove that a warning meeting the requirements of this ordinance has been issued. If such proof cannot be provided, booting operator must refund any fee collected. Madam Mayor, that is my motion.
So there's a motion to approve with the read amendments. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other council members wish to make a comment? Then I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by... Okay, sorry, just a little legal wrangling up here. So we have a motion to approve with changes and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. Now we have item D, consideration and action on Clear Channel Development Agreement. I meant item C, Clear Channel Development Agreement.
So at our last meeting, you'll recall, we passed, the council passed an ordinance allowing for billboard, in certain situations, owners of billboards in the city limits to have the opportunity to convert some of their signs to electronic billboards if they're willing to tear down an equal number of faces. We have, in particular, an agreement with Clear Channel, which is the largest of the billboard owners in the city of Snellville, who has actually asked to have that happen. And they are wishing to tear down 2 of their existing billboard structures in order to have one set changed out to electronic signage in the near future and one at a later date down the road.
And just another provision that's in this agreement is they're in agreement to go back and the other billboards that they do own to repaint all of the structures to freshen them up a little bit. So that is an explanation. Is there a motion?
Motion to authorize the mayor to sign the development agreement with Clear Channel.
There's a motion to authorize the mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. Now we'll go on to item D. Item D, in-town suites settlement agreement. You heard Mr. Stoltz talk about that we have been in negotiations with the in-town suites. Because we made changes to the hotel, motel, and extended stay ordinances, it was going to affect their business. And we've been in negotiations with them several months, which is part of the reasons why we kept extending our moratorium on the hotel ordinance, to make sure that we heard their issues and concerns and they heard our issues and concerns. And we've come to compromise on some of the newer provisions. So they will be grandfathered on several of the provisions so that they can continue to operate their business as they have. This development or settlement agreement memorializes those negotiations that we've made for them. So with that explanation, is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, make a motion to approve the settlement agreement with In-Town Suites as received in our packet and discussed in executive session this evening.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. With that, that ends our business here at the meeting tonight. So we'll move into council reports, and we'll start with our newest council member, Councilmember DeStang.
Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to thank God for sustaining me during this election. Without Him, nothing today would be possible. I also would like to thank my family, council, and everyone who supported me during my campaign. My South Gwinnett High School family, you stood beside me with encouraging words on a daily basis. And you actually came out after a busy day of work to watch me, to witness me taking the oath of office. As many of you may know, I am the first woman of color to ever become part of our great city council. Your vote has shown that what was written in the preamble of the Declaration of Independence over 200 years ago to still have value today. And I'm going to quote the preamble. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. With that, I would like to thank you, the voters, for casting your vote for me. You all came out in the cold, brutal weather. It was extremely cold that day, and I really appreciate your vote. And it means a lot to me and to our city. Your vote made it possible for the event taking place today. It is definitely not a wasted vote. My goal is to serve all Snellvillians, as we call ourselves, where everybody is somebody, and continuously moving Snellville forward with the existing council. And I will be here, not just for some people, but for all people. As we say in Dutch, which is my native language, hartelijk bedankt voor je stem. In German, danke schön, papiamento, mashadanki, voto. Spanish, gracias por tu voto. Portuguese, obrigado pelo seu voto. And in Surinamese, which is my mother's language, wan grand tangi, for your sting. And in English, I would like to say, thank you so much for your vote. It means a lot to me. And I am just eager and excited to serve you all. Thank you.
Councilmember Warner, how many languages are you going to speak to us tonight?
I will attempt to speak in English, and I may fail miserably at that. I was lucky enough to serve on City Council right after Melvin Everson, if he's still in the room. And, oh, there he is. I see him. And there was one thing that became abundantly clear, and it's been drilled into my head over and over and over, and that is never speak after Melvin Everson. And now, to that list, I am going to add Solange Destang. So, believe it or not, I pleaded with the mayor to not have to go first anymore because it throws me off to have to speak that soon after shuffling papers. And then I have to follow that. And all I have to say is thank you to every single one of you that showed up tonight, that showed up to vote, that showed up to help in any campaign. Without you, whatever we do is hollow. We need your support, and we all have your best interests at heart, and we dearly, dearly want to represent every single one of you. And evidently, I'm getting the hook. So with that, I will say, sorry, this is what I was going to say before being so horribly upstaged. Back in 2003, my son, Brad Warner, when I first came on council, was 3 years old. And today, I had the joy of having him turn to me and say, Dad, you need to buy me a razor. I think I'm going to have to start shaving. And that was almost as shocking as having to follow Solange Destang. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday. And if we can do anything for you, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Councilmember Warner. Councilmember Linsky.
I am grateful to have Solange next to me up here, and I look forward to serving with her. Thank you all so much for coming here tonight, and may you and your family have blessed and peaceful holidays, and a Happy New Year, of course.
Councilmember Schultz.
Got my microphone. I also want to say welcome to Solange. I really look forward to serving with you, and I appreciate so much your wonderful comments tonight, and especially appreciate everyone that turned out tonight. This is a great turnout for the first meeting of the month of December. And I always have to report on our farmers market success. Sometimes I think I talk about that too much. I don't know, but our extended season market is just going better than we ever expected it to. Last year we had about 12 vendors. This past Saturday we had 23 there. And we had everything from, seasonal produce and eggs and honey, all that usual stuff, to we also had water buffalo, lamb, and alpaca meat. So that was something very, very different for us. And it's just going really, really well. We had a great turnout of customers, too. I just love Saturday mornings and seeing people come and interacting and just having a good time. And I got an email yesterday from someone that said, I bought some of those Satsuma oranges at the market. She said, thank you for doing so much to bring good, nutritious food to Snellville. And I thought, that just made my day. But anyway, thank you, and Merry Christmas to everybody.
And Mayor Pro Tem Emanuel.
She remembered tonight, too. We're doing good. I want to congratulate Solange for winning the election. We spent a lot of time walking neighborhoods together, and there's no doubt in my mind that she's dedicated to doing what's best for the city. I've seen it firsthand. We had a couple of unique experiences while we were campaigning, and she just wades in. And in spite of my better judgment, she went out and did a few things, but it just showed her determination to try to hit everybody possible and introduce herself. And I think based on the job I saw her doing while campaigning, she's going to do an equally good, if not better job on the council. So I just want to welcome her and congratulate her for winning. Also want to mention Brian Arrington has an anniversary either today or soon. He came up on LinkedIn and said he's been with the city 6 years as public information officer. So congratulations, Brian, and thanks for all you do. And I too want to wish everybody happy holidays. Hope you have a happy and safe Christmas and an equally safe New Year's.
Thank you. And now for the mayor's report, I would like to announce, first of all, so I don't forget, that we have canceled the December 23rd council meeting, since that is the week of Christmas. And I would like to congratulate Solange also for being here. I look forward to working with her her next 4 years. And I know it was a hard-fought race. I know Brittany Marmel did an awesome job, too, being out there campaigning. I know both candidates worked really, really hard. And it's hard to have a loser in that circumstance, but look forward to working with Solange. And I did want to just mention one other thing. I was invited to attend a homeowners association meeting this past week. And someone got up and made a comment about moving to Snellville. He moved to Snellville, him and his wife, from Boston about 1.5 years ago. And they were looking at houses in 4 different counties. And they specifically picked Snellville because it seemed like the right community for them. And then once they moved in, they came to one of our events on the green. And he said it was just like going back to Mayberry. He said people were out and having a great time. He said we met several different people there that they're still talking to. 1.5 years later, they still keep in touch and they do things together. And he said it was everything that they dreamed of in a community. That made my heart feel good. And I told him after the meeting, I said, that's exactly why we started the Snellville Tourism and Trade Association, was because the city had grown a little too big and people didn't know. I mean, it used to be everybody knew everybody. That's part of the slogan, everybody is somebody. And it got to be where you just didn't quite know everybody. And so one of our goals was to create the events to bring the community back. And I would say, from that comment. And that's not the only comment. The last 6 months or so, I've had quite a few people come up to me and say they love living here. And they love having picked this community to come to. So I feel like we're doing something right. And I would like to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Please be safe. And thank you all for coming out tonight. I know a lot of you are here to support Solange. And with that, I will close my mayor's report, and we will open up the floor to public comment. If anyone would like to come up and say anything.
Dave, would you like to introduce me?
Kurt Schultz, 2027 Tanglewood Drive, Snellville.
That'll do. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Kind of going to expound on what Barbara just was talking about, and thank the city, the mayor and council, everybody associated with the city for just an incredible year. It just seems like there's been some big announcement made, every week or two about all the incredible things going on in Snellville, the town center, awards for the Snellville Police Department, the finance department's getting awards, continuing record-breaking numbers for city revenues, building permits, Snellville Tourism and Trade with Kelly. The concerts and events are getting bigger and better. The Spirit magazine goes out further and further every time and just, gets to more people's homes and expands the city's penetration. The farmers market, as Gretchen said, is just going great guns. The city is just exploding with great people and success and, well, goodness for all our citizens. And we can see that tonight with Solange taking her seat. Great things are happening in Snellville, and it looks like we got a great future ahead of us. And don't want to ever forget about all the volunteers that help all of this happen in the city. We just seem to be the city of volunteers in the city. So anyway, all you out there, we can always use some volunteers, so please come and help us out. So thank you anyway for the great leadership and for our great city, and hope you all have a great year. And happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Anyone else? Come on up. Just come up to the microphone and give us your name and address.
My name is Joseph Haba, and I live at 2291 Hampstead Court, Snellville, Georgia. I'm here to tell you a little bit about Solange. I got to know Solange almost for 11 years. She and I were teaching at Brookmore High School. She did something. I came from Africa as an educator. There was a Hispanic girl at Brookmore. She was not doing well. She had like 30 and 40 in her different classes. Solange helped. We worked together, and by the end of this year, that girl passed. She passed all her classes. So Solange, you are an agent of change. I hope you can bring it here. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Just give your name and address for the record.
Okay. My name is Anna Haba. I live at 2291 Hampstead Court, Snellville, Georgia. I just want to acknowledge indeed the slogan that says, Snellville is where everybody is somebody is indeed through. I have been here for about 16 years. I really do not know Solange until this time of the campaign, but my husband just talked about her every time. And during this time of the campaign, I said, I must go, I must see Solange, and I must vote for Solange. What she has done in the classroom, she can bring that to the city. That's why I'm here. And tonight, to be here celebrating this time because of that, I'm so joyful. Indeed, everybody is somebody in Snellville. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Marissa Longmore. I live at 4353 Beaver Tree Street, Loganville, Georgia. I just want to say this thing, that's what I call her, 'cause she's my teacher. It's just the best, honestly. And I know she's been working really hard for this, and I'm so proud of her. Also, I'm just really proud of you. And happy holidays.
Love you.
My name is Emmanuel Adebo. Salon is my neighbor. I live on 1505 Summit Point. I met Salon in 2014 when I moved to Snellville. And she has been a really supportive neighbor. And I think she's going to be an asset to the council. And I want to thank everybody that has come to support her, because it's going to be a change to Snellville. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And see, yes.
Good evening. My name is Sheshe Kingsbury, and I live at 2025 Hickory Station Circle. And I love Solange as well. I love all of you, but I'm here tonight to tell you how much the Christmas parade was just so enjoyable. I recognize the effort that went into that, but it was probably one of the best parades that I've ever seen in Snellville. And there were so many people there, and I just appreciate everything that you all are doing to help make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. We are done. Thank you all for coming out.